Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Pond Bassmaster. So today I'm going to show you guys how to repair your reels and rods for winter. So during the winter, if you leave your rods and reels outside in the cold, or if you leave them out in the garage, if there's any liquid that gets stuck in your reel and it freezes, it'll expand and it can really damage your reels and your rods. You can break rod tips that way. The other thing is, if you haven't cleaned your reel or your rod in a year, you have to. It's kind of a mandatory thing. Otherwise, your reel just won't last that long. So the first step with a bait casting reel is to manage the line. So you have to decide, do you want to leave your line on there or do you want to take it off? I prefer to take mine off, but if you just spooled yours on, or if you just really don't feel like taking it off, take some tape it down. Take it off the rod first. Cut off whatever you were using. Tape the line down so that way it stays nice and compact on your spool and there's not line going everywhere. So tape it down on your spool. Or what I did is I had 50-pound braid on here and I spooled it back onto a old spool, an old empty spool. So that way if I ever want to use this again, I can. And there was already backing on this, so I just took the backing off too. So that's the line. I've dealt with the line, that's done, so go ahead and do that now if you have to. So the next thing you're going to do is with a bait casting reel, you're going to have something called the worm gears. So that's this little silver bar. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but there's a little silver bar that has teeth in it that the line guide travels across, and that's what it travels on specifically. So you're gonna take Q-tips, and if you're not 100% sure what the worm gear is, or worm gears, or whatever it is, find another video where they can show you it better, because I can't really get you a good angle at mine. That's probably the best angle I can show you. If you can see kind of that silvery thing, that's what it is. Well, yours isn't going to be silver. It's going to look black, and that's because you're going to have all kind of junk in it. As you can see, I've already cleaned mine out. So you're going to want to take Q-tips, and you're going to go, and you're just going to clean it out just like that. Make those all shiny. They don't have to be perfect. Like you can see, I just took out some more that was already in there. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it pretty well cleaned. And if you don't have Q-tips, or you want to do it really good, Ardent sells specific Q-tips that don't get cotton everywhere, specifically for cleaning out your reel. So then you're going to take oil or grease and you're going to put a few drops on those gears. That's after you cleaned them out with some Q-tips. And you're just going to reel it all in. So that way should be pretty smooth then. Get that all nice and clean. Then you're going to want to do the same thing with the silver bar above it, which is what the line guide travels across. So only put maybe one drop on there. Get it all smoothed out so that thing is traveling across there really nice and smooth. Shouldn't be making any noise or anything like that. Alright, so that line guide is all ready to go, all cleaned up. So you got that all cleaned out, right? So this is pretty much good to go. You're going to want to take a rag and some all-purpose cleaner, and you're going to want to finish the job. Just clean some of the visible dirt off your reel, specifically where the reel sits in the reel seat. You're going to want to clean that off pretty good. Maybe even the button, put a little bit of reel butter right where that clicks. So now that you got it all cleaned out, next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your drag. So most people's drags are either all the way tightened down or somewhere in the middle, and they find a really good spot where they like their drag. Well, during the winter, you're going to want to take that all the way off. You should have no drag engaged, so that way there's no pressure on the spool. The other thing is you're going to want to take your brakes, and if mine are usually at 4 or 3, they're at 4, wherever they are, you're going to want to put them back to 0 so that there is no tension or pressure at all on the spool, because in the long run, if you put too much pressure on the spool, it's not going to last as long and you'll have to replace it. So, clean it up, make it look nice, then your bait casting reel should be all good to go. So now that we got that all cleaned out, maybe even take a Q-tip and go through the line guide. What did I don't know what I just said. Clean out the line guide a little bit. So get that all nice and cleaned out. So now your bait casting reel is ready to go. Rod, I've also already cleaned. Pretty self-explanatory. Reel seat, wipe down again with some of this whatever kind of all-purpose cleaner you have, and just wipe down the rod. Most important part is the line guides. You're gonna want to take Q-tips and paper towels to those and get those all nice and cleaned out. And if you have a little oil, if you feel like it, you can put maybe a little oil around there, and in the long run, that could actually increase your casting distance a little bit. So that's what you're going to do with the rods. That goes for spinning and bait casting rods. They're the same thing. So that's what you're going to do for the rods. Focus more time on the top eyelet or the furthest most one out, because that's going to be the dirtiest one. That's the one that's going to have the most crap in it. So clean that one out the most. So for spinning reels, you're going to want to do a couple turns of the handle. If you hear anything weird, kind of troubleshoot it. But the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to unscrew this bad boy. Whoop. Take this out. Now, I've already oiled this a little bit, but you can put some oil on this silver bar. Put it back where it was. Like I said, I already oiled mine. Screw it back down. Do a couple more cranks. Should be a little bit more smooth. Take a rag, an all-purpose cleaner again. Wipe it down. Make it look shiny again. Then you're going to want to take your spool off. So you're going to take this front thing on the front of your spool, and you're just going to want to unloosen that all the way. You're going to take it off. So then again, you're going to want to take some cotton swabs, clean it out, make sure there's nothing in there. When I was cleaning it out, I actually found some line, like fishing line, got caught in the spool, and it was making a lot of noise. So the other thing you're going to want to do is you're going to see a little ball bearing, and you're going to want to put a drip of oil on him. Then you should be good to put your spool back together, back onto your reel. Screw your drag back down. Don't screw it all the way down though. Just like a bait casting reel, you don't want too much tension on the spool. So I'm not going to put my drag all the way down. In fact, my drag is extremely loose, as you can see. So there you go. Spinning reel, bait casting reel, ready to go. So what you're going to do then is you're going to put it back on your rod. Spinning reel, bait casting reel, doesn't matter. Just put it back on your rod. Both should be really clean. If you don't already have one, I'd really recommend to get a rod glove, and put that over your rod, and that's going to protect your rod tip specifically and your eyelets from getting banged up with your other rods during the winter, or if you're moving furniture around, it's not going to get banged up too much. So that's kind of a brief way to clean up your stuff and put it all away. As you guys can see, it took me a solid half hour, 45 minutes to get all my stuff cleaned out. As you can see, those cotton swabs are looking pretty nasty. So things you're going to need, if you don't already have some, you're going to want some Ardent real oil and grease, or just oil. It's really an opinion thing. Cotton swabs come in handy, a rag or paper towels, and some all-purpose cleaning stuff, and then a few other things I needed were some pliers to mess around with my spool, and some tape to tape down my line. So that's how you briefly prepare your rods for winter. Like I said, key components you're going to want: oil, grease, cotton swabs, rod glove, all-purpose cleaner, and a rag, and you should be good to go. So if you want a little bit more in-depth on a bait casting rod, if you really want to lube or oil this more thoroughly, if you take your plate off, I already did this with my other one, and it's really difficult to take that off, so I'm just going to show you with this one, which is already off. You're going to have a bearing there, and then you can take the spool off. I'm not sure how to take the spool off on this one, so I'm not going to. If I knew how to, I don't think you even can, but there's a bearing there, there's a bearing back here, and there's a bearing on here. And you're going to want to oil that and then put it back together if you want to do a more thorough oiling. I usually only do that once a year. This one is really old and I don't even bother with it, but if you guys have a dirty worm gear, this is what it sounds like. That's the worm gear making all that noise. So I'm guessing if we take a somewhat clean cotton swab and we make one trip through that worm gear. Oh yeah, there's a ton of gunk in there. And yeah, so that's what it sounds like if you guys. It sounds really bad. That's what a really bad reel sounds like. So anyways, guys, I'm ranting on again. That's how you briefly clean all your rods and reels and get them all prepared for winter. I recommend you don't leave your rods and reels outside or in the garage or even in the basement. I keep mine in my room. If you guys have a rod locker in your boat, I recommend you take them out and you put them in the house somewhere where they're going to stay warm, unless you have a heated garage or something. I don't really think anyone's going to have that fancy of a garage, but just make sure that they're not exposed to really cold weather. So thanks for watching, guys. Like this video if you liked it. Please comment below video suggestions because it is wintertime here in Ohio. So I'm going to definitely be doing some unboxings. I'm really excited for Christmas and all that good stuff. So I should be getting a lot of fishing gear. So stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys in my next video.